Just out of the army, BTS's Jungkook immediately hugs a mysterious woman. Who the hell is he? Is this the end of the army's hope? Is this the biggest surprise of the year? The camera captured the most unexpected moment of Jungkook, the golden magne, who has been silent about romance. But now, his embrace of a woman makes all assumptions shatter into pieces. Is this really her lover? Why does he look so happy, as if there is no burden? What has Jungkook been hiding from the army? Seoul's summer breeze blew softly as the footsteps of fans began to fill the area around the military headquarters where BTS's Jungkook completed his mandatory military service. A day that has been long awaited, filled with tears of joy and happiness by millions of soldiers around the world. But who would have thought? That day was not only the moment of the release of an idol's military service, but also the beginning of an emotional mystery that made the hearts of thousands of people stop for a moment. The camera caught him. That very second, one hug turned into a global storm of excitement. Jungkook walked out of the main gate with a big smile. His eyes sparkled, his breathing seemed light, and he even waved at fans who shouted his name while crying happily. But just a few steps later, the world seemed to stop. In front of the camera, Jungkook immediately burst out hugging a woman, who until now has not been clearly identified by the public. Who is he? Why does the hug feel so deep? Is this a sign that Jungkook has been keeping the army's biggest secret? The hug cannot be considered just an ordinary gesture. That's not a friend's hug. Not even a formal hug from the agency staff. It was a hug too intense, too full of emotion, too honestly. And the most astonishing? Jungkook's face, his smile, his eyes on the woman. There is something there that we have never seen. Freedom. Freedom is no longer something to hide. He Jungkook's lover, who has been hidden behind the tight curtain of HYB's management? Or is it just an emotional strategy to convey a message to the world? Jungkook didn't say a word after that. He just walked quietly, hand in hand with the woman, towards the black vehicle that was waiting for him. There were no words, no clarifications, only a silence that was more electrifying than any explosion of news. The army was divided. Some try to convince themselves that the woman is just a staff, family, or even relatives. But the more quiet Jungkook is, the more speculation erupts. Is it true that he has been hiding the relationship? Why was it that when he came out of a place that limited him so much, he immediately hugged her as if she was the only reason for his strength all along? Why didn't any of the other BTS members appear on location? And it was precisely this woman who appeared first in his arms. Question after question hit the fan community hard. Some even found a resemblance of the woman's face to someone who had been seen sitting in the back row of a BTS concert in LA 3 years ago. Has she been with Jungkook for a long time? Is this a secret love that has been hidden for a long time? The thing that made the atmosphere even more emotional was how Jungkook looked like relieved. As if he had been waiting for this moment not only to be free from the military, but also to be free from all the concealment that had bound him. The army, which has always been the main force for Jungkook, was puzzled. Did we know who he was all this time? Is this why Jungkook often writes songs about love that sound so real? Who exactly is this woman, and why is she the first person Jungkook wants to meet when he's free? It doesn't stop there. Scattered footage showed that after getting into the car, Jungkook stared out the window with a slight smile, then lowered his head, and a few seconds later, it seemed to wipe his eyes. Is she crying? Did he feel like he had been in so much pain all this time? And why does the hug seem to signify more than just a meeting? So, if it is true that the woman is his lover, since when did this relationship begin? Do other BTS members know? Does HYB know about it and cover this up from the public for the sake of maintaining the image? And an even more suffocating question, is ARMY really ready to accept that Jungkook, the idol of a million hearts, has now given his heart to someone for real? A source at the scene, who did not want to be named, said the woman did come with HYB staff, but was not wearing any ID. He stood in a place that seemed to have been determined, not too close to the media, but strategic enough so that Jungkook could directly approach him. Is this a sign that this moment has indeed been secretly planned? Why is there no explanation from the agency? Why did neither BTS nor HYB's official account mention the presence of the woman? Is this Jungkook's tacit move to convey that he is old enough to make his own decisions, including about love? Or is this the beginning of a new chapter in his life, which no longer wants to be constrained by fame or expectations? Fan reaction on social media immediately peaked. Some large ARMY fanbase accounts even chose to be temporarily deactivated, claiming to need time to digest this event. But on the other hand, many also feel proud and happy for Jungkook. "If he's happy, we should be happy too," wrote one fan. But the question still hangs. No one can answer for sure. Who is that woman? Even more surprisingly, within hours of the incident, several of Jungkook's old love-themed songs returned to the digital charts. Songs like Still With You and My You are in the spotlight again, as if fans are now looking for clues from the lyrics. Is there a hidden code? Are these songs made for real people? Someone who has now become a real presence in Jungkook's arms. There is also a mention that in a V-Live session a few years ago, Jungkook once smiled strangely while reading a comment about a mysterious woman. He just laughed and said, "Not everything you think you know, you really know." Is this what he meant? Have we been fooled by his honest and innocent face all this time? Now, amid the euphoria and confusion, only one thing is certain. That moment of embrace has changed everything. It's not just about who she is, but about Jungkook's courage to choose honesty when the world wants him to continue to be flawless. And maybe this is his way of saying, "I am also human." ARMY, are you ready to accept the fact that Jungkook's love is no longer just on stage, but real, and he's hugging us right in front of our eyes? That day, dozens of cameras from various local and international media were present to capture the moment of the return of one of the most influential idols in the world. But no one is ready for the fact that the moment of Jungkook's return raises a much larger wave of questions than just, how is he doing now? The world didn't just see the return of a superstar. The world witnessed a personal story that finally came to the surface after years of tight storage. The woman is still an enigma. He gave no statement. Not a single gesture implies panic. He was calm, as if he already knew that this moment would come. Even when the hug happened, he closed his eyes and returned Jungkook's embrace with a tenderness that was painful to watch, at least for the hearts of fans who had always felt they had a special place in the idol's heart. Many began to dig into the archives. Pieces of video, old photos, to Jungkook's interview several years back are peeled back. One of the moments that went viral was when in one of the radio interviews, Jungkook had a small laugh when asked, "Do you believe in secret love?" He only answered briefly, "Secrets are sometimes more honest than indulgences." Is the sentence actually a veiled confession? All this time, he has been hiding a relationship that is not out of shame, but because it's too valuable to share, ARMY found that some of the lyrics of Jungkook's solo songs seemed more meaningful now that the hug had happened. The lyrics of Still With You, like, "I want to be with you forever, even if everything changes," now feel like a love letter that has been addressed to a real person. Who is the lucky woman? Why was he so important that it became Jungkook's first hug after 2 years in the military? It turns out the woman was a non-celebrity, a person who does not come from the entertainment industry at all, and therefore is far from the spotlight of the cameras. An unofficial source mentioned that he was an old friend of Jungkook, even before BTS debuted. Could it be that Jungkook has been in a relationship with a woman who knew him before he became a superstar? Is this why he has been reluctant to open his love story to the public? Because it is too personal, too real, and too emotional. But not a few also speculated that the woman might not be a girlfriend, unless the future wife. This theory arose because Jungkook's behavior was too warm, too deep, and too ready. Is this a signal that he is ready to build a real life after all this time living in the shadow of schedules, cameras, and public expectations? Korean media also began to steer the narrative in a deeper direction. Some portals reported that the woman may have met Jungkook's family. But is it really so? If this is true, why is there no official statement? Is HYB considering how to arrange this bomb so that it does not become a destructive hurricane? Even more surprising is the fact that shortly after the incident, Jungkook's personal account on the Weverse platform did not display any activity. Usually, he will give a greeting, even just an emoji to greet fans. But this time, quiet, silence. And it is precisely the silence that adds pressure and emotion, and no less striking is the silence of other BTS members. No welcome messages were shared publicly. No photos together. No re-uploads. Was this because they knew TH? It is said that the camera never lies. But what if the camera shows only part of the truth? When the hug happened, so warm, so sincere, so full of meaning, the world seemed to be silent. No one knew what words were spoken between them. But from Jungkook's gaze, from the way he pulled her into his arms, it became clear. This was no ordinary meeting. This is not a fan. This is not a staff. This is nobody, or rather this is the ARMY's reaction was divided. There are those who cry with emotion, feeling happy because Jungkook can finally live like an ordinary human being. There are also those who feel betrayed, like a secret that is too big has undermined trust. All this time he said he loved us. But now, she doesn't even talk, wrote one fan in the online community. But does Jungkook really have to apologize for loving someone? Or are we as a public too demanding that a human being belong to everyone without limits? In one night, Jungkook isn't just a man returning from the military. He became a man who had to choose between maintaining his image or maintaining his own heart. Not only that, but new rumors are starting to surface. Some sources in the industry say that the woman is not just an ordinary lover. He is said to be someone who knows the entertainment industry very well, but always refuses to appear in public. Some even believed that he had been on the production staff on one of BTS's tours in the past. Could it be that love grows quietly behind a grand stage, in the silent halls of a hotel or a recording studio? Some theorize that this relationship has been going on for more than 4 years. If true, then Jungkook has lived out his heyday by hiding one of the greatest sides of his life from the world. Isn't that too much of a sacrifice? Isn't it painful, even for the idol himself? And the question now isn't just who the woman is, but why now? Why was the hug done in front of the camera? Why is it no longer hidden? Is this a form of Jungkook's resistance to the system that has been silencing idols' personal desires for the sake of the market? HYB himself still has not given an official statement. Their silence only increased the tension. There is no clarification, no defense, no transfer issues. They let the public talk, speculate, and split. Is this a strategy? Or did they not know that that day would be the most controversial moment in Jungkook's career history? On the other hand, there were also reactions from other celebrities that added heat to the atmosphere. One of the former trainees who used to work with Jungkook retweeted a photo of the hug with the caption, "It's time." Only 2 words, but enough to make the public shaken. Do many people in the industry know about the relationship? Are we the only ones who don't know? Blinded by the charm of the stage. Even more shocking was when a longtime BTS stylist uploaded a photo of a woman's hand holding a bouquet of flowers with the same bracelet as the mysterious woman wore during the moment of embrace. Is this the subtle code of insiders? Or just a coincidence? But in a world controlled by the slightest detail, nothing is accidental. Everything has a purpose. All our messages. Some fans tried to disassemble the location of the hug. They realized that the place was not an official military area. Apparently, it was a location specially chosen by HYB as a closed welcoming place. But how can journalists and photographers be present there if it is closed? Was this designed? If so, then one of the craziest theories is gaining ground. Jungkook did intentionally let the hug happen in front of the camera. Not because he forgot, but because he's ready. Because he wants to. Because he wants the world to know that after all the struggles, he no longer wants to hide who he really is. Does this mean that Jungkook is getting married? Or rather, this is an indirect recognition that will be refuted in the form of a diplomatic statement? Many believe that this embrace is the first step in Jungkook's rebranding project as an adult soloist, no longer a boy running around on stage. It is no longer the golden magne. He is a man with a future and a past that is real, and one moment that makes all of this feel even more haunting is, after the hug, the woman leaves in the opposite direction to HYB's entourage. He wasn't in the company car. He just disappeared. Not seen again at the airport. Not recorded on public CCTV. It was as if it had been planned that he would only show up for